Okay, so hola. Today, we are going to talk about los pronombres de objeto directo, otherwise known as direct object pronouns. And we're going to use these to talk about who or what is on the receiving end of our action. So, up to now, we've really been focused on who does an action. That's the subject of a sentence. So, who's doing the verb or what is doing the verb. Once again, who or what does the verb is the subject of the sentence. The person or thing or animal that is on the receiving end of our actions, that's the object. In this case, we're talking about the direct object. So we're going to take some notes on this and get a little bit of practice. So first things first, you need to know what a direct object pronoun is, okay? And so you need to remember that a pronoun replaces a noun in a sentence. We use it to keep from repeating ourselves because we don't want to say the same name a million times or the name of the same object a million times when we're speaking. We don't want to repeat ourselves that often. And once again, the direct object receives the action of the verb, and it can be a person, animal, or thing. And it is important to realize that we use direct object pronouns, and you'll hear me refer to them a lot as DOPs, in English too. And so what you should do in the first three boxes on the middle of the first page of notes is escribir esas oraciones, write down these sentences. And I would strongly advise that you underline the direct object pronoun when you write it down, or highlight it so that you can see it more clearly. So you got that visual reminder for yourself. So you'll see that these are question and answer sets because direct object pronouns, we usually use them in the context of conversation, once again, to keep from repeating ourselves. I'm repeating myself by saying to keep from repeating ourselves. But if you take a look at this first example here, did you all get new passports? And the answer is yes, we got them. Them being our direct object pronoun that is replacing the original direct object in the question, new passports. The second example here is, did they follow the route through the rainforest? And the answer is yes, they followed it. It, replacing the direct object in the original sentence, the route through the rainforest. So you see that with the first two examples here, new passports and the route through the rainforest, a direct object can be more than one word. It can also include adjectives or other words or parts of phrases that are describing that noun that's the actual direct object. Finally, for our last example here, we have a direct object pronoun and a direct object in the original question that refers directly to people. When did you help the refugees? I helped them yesterday. So in the original question, you've got the refugees as the direct object, and the direct object pronoun replacing them is them. The next step is for you to write down the direct object pronouns, or DOPs, in Espanol. So you'll see that in order to say me, it's me. You informal is te. Him, you formal, or it is lo. Her, you formal, or it is la. And be aware, for lo and la, you can only use them to say it for the direct object of a sentence. These cannot be used to say it if it is a subject of a sentence. So for example, you can't use lower la to say it's okay. Lower la will not fit there. To say her, you, or it, it's la. To say us, it's nos. You all, only in España, it's os. And to say you all or them, los or las. Las, of course, if it is a group of all girls or you're referring to all feminine objects. It's important to remember, recuerda que the direct object in a sentence, once again, is the person, animal, or thing that receives the action of the verb. And to find the direct object in an original sentence, you want to ask yourself que, which is who, or que, which is what. Oh my goodness, senor. Que, which is what, or quien, which is who receives the action. So once again, que is what, quien, who receives the action. So you notice that we've got our original examples here at the top of Página 2 as well in your notes packet. And you got your original examples in Inglés on the left and in Español on the right. So we have in English, the first example, did you all get new passports? And yes, we got them, as we went over previously. En español, the question is, ¿recibieron ustedes los pasaportes nuevos? Los pasaportes nuevos is your direct object. Si los recibimos. Yes, we received them. The los translates as them. However, note the difference in location of the direct object pronoun in Spanish. It's before the conjugated verb, as opposed to the direct object pronoun in English, where it's after the conjugated verb. So where they're going to be placed for many of us, for the most part in Spanish, is the opposite of the way of where we would place them in English. So this may take a bit of adjusting for many of us. For our second example that you all saw on the first page, they followed the route through the rainforest. Yes, they followed it. And in Spanish, we have the question, siguieron ellos la ruta por la selva tropical, the direct object in the question being la ruta por la selva tropical, and the answer being si la siguieron, la being the direct object pronoun here that means it. Yes, they followed it. And once again, you will notice that the direct object pronoun is before the conjugated verb. Finally, when did you help the refugees? I helped them yesterday. And the question being, ¿cuándo ayudaste a los refugiados? In Spanish, a los refugiados, sí, okay? And los ayudé ayer. I helped them yesterday. Los being them, and once again, before the conjugated verb. Es importante saber, it's important to know this, that we typically use these in the context of a conversation. So as we get more accustomed to using object pronouns, you will see more complex question and answer type of situations in all likelihood, like what you saw in the example. However, for your purposes now, what you're going to be doing as you start getting used to using these is finding them in a sentence and rewriting the sentence where you replace the direct object with the correct direct object pronoun. So what you really need to do with direct objects, find the direct object in the original sentence and replace them with the correct direct object pronoun. And when you are writing a sentence with direct object pronouns, you have a couple of options. They are equally correct. I will accept either one, so you should do the one that works best for you. You either want to place them before a conjugated verb in a sentence that only has one verb, or attached to the end of an infinitive, so that's one that ends with AR, ER, or IR, the original unconjugated form of a verb, or a present participle, which is the form of the verb that ends with ando and iendo. So what you're going to do now, once again, and this is a question answer, so it's a little, once again, more complex than what you'll have to do on the next page. But obtuvieron los inmigrantes venezolanos un visado? Did the Venezuelan immigrants obtain a visa? Un visado is your direct object in the question. Si lo obtuvieron, yes, they obtained it or they got it. Lo being the direct object pronoun, replacing un visado in your answer. For B, recibieron ellos mucho apoyo. Mucho apoyo, a lot of support, being the direct object in the question. No lo recibieron. No, they did not receive it. Lo, once again, being your direct object pronoun, replacing mucho apoyo. And finally, this one, for the C, the answer, you're going to have two different ways of writing it. One where you're going to have the direct object pronoun in front of the conjugated verb, and another one where you'll have it attached to the end of the infinitive, the second unconjugated verb. Both options are equally correct. So for say we have, necesito tener un pasaporte estadounidense para entrar en Puerto Rico. So un pasaporte estadounidense is your direct object. You can answer by saying no lo necesitas tener or no necesitas tenerlo. These are equally correct. I would advise writing down the one that you feel is going to work best for you. If you want to do both, you certainly may. Now, what you're going to do as we finish here is you are going to go to Página 3, and please look at the instructions carefully because it says, escribe cada oración otra vez. So you are writing each sentence again. You are not answering questions. Reemplaza el objeto directo. So you're replacing the direct object con el pronombre de objeto directo apropiado. So with the appropriate direct object pronoun. So you don't need to answer questions. You don't need to worry about subject verb. What you need to worry about in this situation or think about is finding that direct object in the original sentence and rewriting the sentence, replacing it. I would strongly advise highlighting, underlining, circling, writing notes, crossing things out, whatever is going to work for you. And let me know if you'd like assistance as we go through this. Gracias.